Without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy works. But what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships or at work, not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. And a special offer to ImmaLetYouFinish listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/ImmaLetYou, ImmaLetu. That's betterhelp.com/ImmaLetYou, ImmaLetu. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast.
What's up, everybody? It is ImmaLetYouFinish, show number 100. 100. 3 years. This is 3 years. It's so amazing. I didn't even think about when 100 would be, but actually 100 is coming at our 3-year anniversary of starting this show. And
right.
It is us, your hosts, two Catholic high school girls in trouble, Court and Amy.
Whoa. That explains so much.
So much. So much.
No wonder I've had this weird latent anti-Semitism all my life. I'm actually Catholic.
And in trouble.
Back in the when my punk rock days, I used to wear these little outfits in the 90s. I used to call them my Chanel from Hell outfits. And they were like little kilts and little jackets. And, we all wore the kilts. Into the Catholic school uniform. Very cute.
Except
very Kim Wilde.
Kim. Oh my God, I was obsessed with Kim Wilde. Don't even get
Courtney,
me started.
I've been doing the show with you for 3 years, and I've known you for quite some time. I know how to feed you a softball.
You came is my shit.
Yeah. No, I know my audience. I know it's like a barely able to sing British person and someone singing in a language you don't understand who can't sing either at all.
No, favorite thing.
At all.
All right, well, guys, listen. It is 3 years. It's our 100th episode. First of all, thank you to Pantheon Podcast Network, our network. They're amazing. Thank you to Listening Party, who was the first network and Peter Oasis, who said yes when a lot of people said no. We tried to go to a bunch of different places, and we got no responses, no nothing, and we were kind of like seeing some of the shows and stuff that they were picking up like, well, really, you're just not even gonna, okay. But thank you. We were trying to figure out what are we gonna do for 100. Should we?
Can I just say thank you, Anne, and thank you, Anne Christoph,
I was gonna get to Anne. It was it was like, what are we gonna do for 100th episode? Are we going to should we do this big theme? It's like, how about we just talk about the genesis of the show, music we like, and the reason why we started this show. Like, this little show that originally, I had an idea if I wanted to do a show. And at first, I was talking to our good friend, Anne Christoph, who I spoke to today. Hey, Anne. And I was like, I want to do a podcast. It's the first thing to see me really organic after retiring from the music industry. I don't know what I want to do next. I can't figure this out. I've applied for a bunch of gigs. Nothing seems really like an organic fit. So Ann and I started planning what the show could be. And at first, because everybody, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I love sports. They're just things that I like. So I was like, well, maybe a show that's from a gay point of view, and we could talk about sports and music, the things that I like organically. But I was like, but I don't think I want to do it alone. And so I was trying to think of who to do it with. So talking with Anne, she's like, Amy's been talking about, she used to have a podcast back in the beginning when like everybody didn't have a podcast. And she's been saying that she wants to do a podcast. You know Amy, right? I was like, yes, well, I know Amy from the music industry and seeing her around Miguel's stuff, but I don't really know. Well, I know Amy, but we don't speak like that. But when we're party, we see. Yes, I said, how about this? You hit her up, see if she'll take a call with me, and let's figure out what this needs to be. Amy and I get on the phone. It's like fucking magic. We're both like,
because oh, look who's here. It's Spoonie.
Spoonie is making an appearance for the 100th episode.
But you know why? It's her 3rd anniversary being alive.
I was about to say, and she's also showing her face. It's not usually her head that's in the camera. It's usually her tail flopping around. But now she's like, oh, there's a new computer.
It's her 3rd anniversary. Right. I got her in 2019. Yeah.
So Amy and I get on the phone. We're like, okay, so then the concept starts to change. And so here's the thing, is something I say a lot. Not realizing that Alec Baldwin has a fucking podcast called So Here's the Thing. So
he does?
Yes. And that was his moment. So that didn't work.
And then I always say Not for Nothing.
Right, and we were trying to figure out...
And I had a podcast called Not for Nothing, but it was like, let's pick something that neither one of us, so we can it's like when you're trying to name a baby, you don't name it after either one of your boyfriend or girlfriend. No, I mean, you do.
Yeah,
you
but
have,
it's true.
You don't want to have an association.
We were going through, what are the names? What should we call it? And then all of a sudden, Amy says, well, I have this one name I've been kicking around. And I was like, well, what? She's like, well, ImmaLetYouFinish. And I was like, bingo, bitch. That's it.
Well, because bingo, bitch was taken.
Right. And I was like, that's it. Right there. That's clearly it.
Yeah.
And now, fun fact, I didn't know that it came from the Kanye shit.
Yeah.
Because I was there working. I was working at Music World that night. So my reality of that night is so, I've actually never even watched it on television. So I've never watched it back because I was standing there and everything started happening. And first of all, I know I've told the story, but that's been 20 million years. I'm going to tell it again. Okay. So I have a client who is a guest of another client.
Okay, just say the names for crying out loud. Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay, so I was Solange's product manager at the time, and Leanne and everybody was working with B, and Solange...
Anse for the rest of us, for us civilians.
Yes, and so Solange, Jay didn't want to sit, even though he was performing that night. Remember, he closes out the show with Alicia Keys, and they do New York State of Mind. And of course, that's when the fuckery of the evening ends with fucking Little Mama also ending up on stage. And I was like, this whole show is cursed. Anyway, so the plan was Beyonce was going to walk the red carpet, but she was just stopping for photos. She was walking. She was not going to do any interviews. So it was timed perfectly. She had to be in her seat because she was up for the first award, and then she had to go change because her performance started at the top of the next hour for Single Ladies, all that thing. Solange was going to be sitting next to her, and I was Solo's product manager. So when I brought Solange down to her seat, I sat next to her so that she didn't just have to sit there alone until her sister came. MTV pre-show slickly with a live camera steps in front of Beyonce with a mic. And Julius, I think people have seen that. You can see it on YouTube. Julius tries to step in and she's just like, it's fine. And she does the interview, which in turn makes her late coming inside. So I'm sitting next to Amber Rose and Kanye West, who is doing a full moment over there. Then the lights go down. And now here comes Madonna in my face. Now, you know I love Madonna. But then also, here comes the person whose seat I'm in. We're in the front row. Madonna's literally right here. Janet Jackson is standing there to start performing. I have to literally drop to the floor of Radio City. I'm crawling.
I'm sorry, you've done that many times before.
Many,
why are you acting like you? Why are you acting like you've never dropped to the floor and crawled?
But the payoff is always really good, really good. This wasn't.
Come on.
By the time I got to the end, Janet had stopped performing, and it's time to show intro first award. And I'm like, "Ooh, we made it through! Oh God, we got it! Great, 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 great." So then that moment happens. I don't know what happens on stage. And then we start this show, and everybody keeps saying, "Oh my God, that's such a fierce name. We love the name. Oh my God, did you get it from Kanye?" And I was like, why do people keep saying that? And then Amy was finally like, because that's what he said on the stage that night.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those
fucking
No,
fuck?
it's one of those great pop music catchphrases. It became like one of those, let me clear my throat. It just became, it took on a life of its own. And I actually had a dear, dear friend of mine who I won't name his name he doesn't listen to the show anyway because of this reason. And he said, "I hate Kanye, fuck you." And I'm like, it's not about Kanye. It's just that what Kanye said became like the 7 years ago of fucked up shit. It's like if we called the show Wu-Tang or For the Children.
Right.
It's just one of those, to me, it's one of those lines. So
to me, it makes so much sense that our show would end up being called that. But do you remember how turned out I was? I was like, motherfucking Amy, what? I was like, my show is named after what?
No, see, that's the thing.
It's not named after. It's not named after.
No. It's just one of those great moments.
It is. It's so funny. So then we start this crazy ride. And y'all, we have gone through everything. We had $20 mics. But guess what? I'm going to say God bless you to those $20 mics because they got us through. And you guys, listen, there are people who rocked with us from day one that are still listening to this show, and it has grown. And we love you guys for growing with us and all of the fuckery of this crazy-ass show. And we're just like two music geeky people that just enjoy a little bit of fuckery, a lot of good music, and we love some good fuckery, though. We do.
I don't even know what is, I'm going to be very, what does fuckery mean?
Well, fuckery can be, fuckery
like shenanigans or fuckery shenanigans?
Yes,
I do enjoy some shenanigans.
That's what I'm saying. Fuckery is shenanigans.
I like shenanigans. Yes,
fuckery is shenanigans. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
And we love that shit.
It's the PG version. I am the
You're the PG version.
Okay,
shenanigans. And we like to talk about random shit. Where else? Listen, I was talking about fucking Milan Farmer, who is no one ever know. Listen, back in the late 80s and 90s, picture me, black gay boy, going on dates. What kind of music you listen to? And I'd be like, Kylie Minogue, and black boys would be looking and be like, what the fuck is a Kylie Minogue? But I say any kind of random shit to Amy, and she's like, oh yeah, they had that album that came out. She was like, you know who he was married to? And like, it just works. Even Milan. No one knew the fuck I was talking about when I would talk about Milan Farmer.
It's a gift.
And Amy was like, I know who she is. And I was like, we're doing this. We're doing this.
Yeah, it's a gift. It's a gift. I mean, I'll die alone because men find that kind of intelligence and knowledge intimidating. But I will say that many years ago, I was invited to a birthday party of the best friend of my then boyfriend, and there were going to be celebrities there, and they were going to play, one of the Beastie Boys, and Heather Graham, who's very nice, and they were going to be playing like Name That Tune type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I got a specific, they said, make sure you bring Amy. Make sure you bring Amy. And he's like, of course I'm going to bring her. I live at, no. Make sure you bring Amy. And I'm like, wow, this woman never liked me before. And then I realized I was the ringer. Right. And they brought me. And we won!
Of course you did.
Heather Graham didn't know what Cashmere was by Led Zeppelin. Nice woman, but Come on. That's bad.
And listen, and you get to bring the hip hop sensibility to this show.
Oh, I love the fact that it's like I am like the old. I am like, oh, the kids with the hipping and the hopping. You know, you and I have the same thing about hip hop. We love it. You know, I am not of the culture. I was professionally of the culture. I do love it. I relate to it. But you and I have the same kind of reaction to the stuff that's going on. It's not for us. It shouldn't be for us. It's like if I was sitting there listening to like certain stuff now, it'd be like me walking around in a crop top. Nobody wants to see me in a crop top. No, really, nobody wants to see me in a crop top. I mean, not that it looks bad.
No, listen, you still
But
do
nobody
Pilates
wants
and shit.
to.
People
Nobody
don't
wants
understand.
to see me in
You
a
keep
crop
it
top.
snatchage. Amy is tall and keeps it snatch, kids. She does her Pilates. She's on those machines and shit. And she goes. She's not one of those. Let me do it in my living room. No, Miss Girl goes and
Thank you
gets on
for
the
lying. I just
situation.
walk a lot. I just need any excuse
I
to
just
keep
walk a lot.
eating cake.
Everyone's like, right? Listen.
We're not stupid. I put up an old picture of me on the website. I'm not stupid. They're like, wow, you look amazing. I go, yeah, that picture's from 1994.
I was so happy, like when Peter and Christian picked. First of all, they picked photos for us. They went through. This is how fierce Pantheon is. They went through and picked the photos for us that they used on the situation. And when I saw the one they picked for me, I was like, bravo. I don't know who's the queen over there, but you hit it. You knew the one to hit. You got the angle. You got the right lighting. You got the right ahoo-ness. You know what I'm saying? That we're trying to be giving over here. Yes, all of these
So
things.
let's talk a little. I want to talk a little. I mean, obviously, one of the things that's been interesting about this, I've not done radio per se or done a podcast, but I did have some background in talking to myself. And I know that in the beginning, one of the things that drove you nuts was you didn't. I don't like the sound of my own voice, but yeah, I don't like it either. But it's much better now. But it's. I think what's cool is like talking about how the whole vibe. I think a lot of the vibe and a lot of the, for me, confidence came in as when we went to Canal Street Market, that really helped to have professional equipment and not sit there leaning into a mic like the Beatles. Right. And having our first guest, having a guest, I think really changed things, because suddenly it felt like, wow, we're doing like an interview and there's people who want to talk to us, which I think is cool.
When I think about those first guests, when I think about, our
good friend, Ben Merlis was our first guest.
Ben Merlis said
hey,
yes.
Ben.
You know what I mean? Bevy Smith, who you guys need to really check out her TED Talk, said yes. Everybody
Tammy
said yes.
Faye. Tammy Faye
Starlight said yes. Our friend Miguel came on and we talked about him being the Nas's first album, the Fugees, and those campaigns that he created. And it really felt like after so many people saying no, and I still tell us to young people. I tell it to older people, but I tell us a lot to young people who want to ask me different things about the industry and stuff. I'm like, listen, you can get a lot of no's. Not everybody's going to get everything. But it is really true when people say that one yes can change everything. And I don't know, had Listening Party at that time not said yes to us, and we kept going because we were really just independently putting the show out on SoundCloud. And we found an audience, but, I felt like we really needed a network.
You need a cosign. You always need some sort of cosign. You really do. But can I just say, I love this image of you. I have this whole image of you sitting there in a chair and children surrounding you and going, Courtney, Mr. Anderson, what was it like in the music business? Well, children, let me go. I love this.
I tell them things like, well, your boss could throw something at you.
Yes, and nobody could say anything.
And I was like, and you could work until 2 a.m. and have to be back in the office because... Fun story. Fun story that I remember 20 million years back. I don't know if the record leaked. I don't know if somebody got it early. But when I was an illegal intern with Taish Harris, I lived with Taish, back at Columbia when it was in Black Rock, the fucking Mariah Carey Fantasy, I guess, got sent to one radio station. Because of that, everybody had to get it. And this is back when you were sending things on like vinyl and CD singles. And we had to sit in that conference room and shove everything in an envelope and get them out. And they were taking them out for New York stations were getting it immediately because it was Mariah and, and doing that till like 2 o'clock in the morning and being back there at 8:30 in the morning to finish. That is what the music industry was like. Now it's so weird because when I look at everything, it seems like because of all of the digitalness, no one really does a real marketing plan anymore. It's like they're looking at TikTok and if you can't get this song on here, like Lizzo's About Damn Time is now a hit because of TikTok. Like it took off on TikTok. People started making videos weeks and weeks and weeks after the release. And now she's got a big top 20 pop record again. So I think about that time and now, and we've gone through all of the eras, and I'm sure you've seen it from how you would receive music to write about it versus now when people are calling you to write things about different artists and what they're asking you to write now versus how they were asking you to write then.
Well, I mean, they're not asking me, which is fine, But to be honest, I mean, and we've talked about this.
But so you've written some stuff. You just being...
No, I haven't done a review. I haven't done a review.
I'm not talking about reviews. I'm just talking about when you're being asked to write. And what you're being asked to write now versus what you were being asked to write.
Right. I just feel like, I mean, we've talked about this, so it's like, don't, not to sound like, but it's the method of delivery. It's the fact that you have to come out with an opinion immediately. Mm-hmm. And even if you work for a daily, I mean, if you work for a daily, then, but you're not getting the music 5 minutes before it comes out. So there is just, I'm sorry, I don't care how great a writer you are. There is no way. No, all right, I take that back. There are certain writers who can do it. But I don't know how you form a really cogent, intelligent, informative thought if you have 20 minutes to get it done. Right. Or maybe, I mean, I'm exaggerating. Obviously, you don't have 20 minutes.
What you mean, like, you used to be able to live with the music. Like, even the times when they would bring you in and play the album. And that, remember,
you could play the album and then they'd send you home with the record.
Right.
I mean, you could actually, spend a little time with it, and I think that maybe that's one of the. I mean, I have to assume, like, we're going to talk about this on our one of our. We're going to talk. We've talked about this, but I have to assume, judging by the Harry Styles reviews that I've read, that people got that music earlier that people had that music. Because there's just too much, or there were a lot of
Well, you can tell because there
were a lot of people going to a conference room listening to it.
That was the way you could tell the articles and the way that they presented him and what you read, because you got music journalism pieces with him. You know what I mean? And real interviews with him.
He's the guy right now. I mean, people get to flex a little bit.
You could tell there was a plan.
Yeah. Oh, no, of course. Yeah. No.
And so with that plan, select journalists probably got those secure links. You can't download, but it's like a.
Oh yeah, no.
You get that link, and you just be able to listen to the record for 24 hours, and give you 24 hours to just play it.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, otherwise you can't really form an opinion, because there's tons of stuff that I've listened to, and I'm sure you have too. You put it on and you hate it. And then you go back and you're like, oh, I mean, there are very few, I mean, not to get back to Harry Styles again, but that's how you knew this was going to be a hit, because the first second I heard As It Was, I was like, oh my God, I can't get this song out of my head.
Right.
And
Me too, actually.
I mean, it's like, this is a killer single. And I mean, it's just very interesting, because I think that record is going to have a very, very long hanging on the charts, whereas I think the Kendrick record, Apples and Oranges, is not going to stay on the charts as long as the Harry record, because I just think for the summertime, people want a Harry Styles type of record. They don't want it's not, but we'll see. I mean, they're both touring. Kendrick's coming to Brooklyn in like a month. Mm-hmm. We're both anyway, let's get back to the the show itself. So I was really, for me, when the guests came in, that was really fun because it allowed us to kind of get out of our own kind of heads and engage with other people. And it was fun, of course, with Ben, because I have, sort of a history with him. Not a history in a weird way. I've known him since he was a little kid.
Right.
And Tammy Faye, you and I are both fans. And she was a fan of ours, which was fun.
And she was great. She was so much fun.
She's the best. She's the best.
First of all, a fun fact, guys, you guys should also thank Amy for us getting the show out the gate. Because I made us record... like 4 shows before we would release it. I was like... Hearing my voice, going back to that, was like, I kept being like,
I know.
Amy.
I was just like, fucking do it already.
I was like, no. I was like, who's that guy on the tape? Because he sounds like he just knocked 5 dicks out of his mouth. Who is that? You were like, that's what you sound like. I'm like,
that would be you.
Like. So then I called Fred, my best friend. I was like, I'm like, I don't sound like this. He was like, that's what your voice sounds like. I was like, my voice does not sound like that. In my head, my voice sounds deep, and I'm giving very, man. But evidently, I'm giving ballerina with a lisp. I was so
you're not. No, you don't have
to
no,
me.
You don't have,
when I hear my voice, I'm like, I sound like the person handing out packets of lube at an orgy in Midtown.
Okay, I have that image in my head. Thanks. I sound like my sister to me. I sound very much like I just sound like I hear, all I do is I hear my lisp, which nobody else hears, but all I hear is suffering succotash for like 45 minutes.
You hear
even though my lisp is not suffering even though my lisp is now, as soon as I say lisp, even though my lisp is not that pronounced, all I hear is suffering succotash. So, but I have to say that, well, I obviously curse on this show because I'm allowed to, but I did TV and I've done stuff and I've taught and I've never cursed in the classroom and I've never cursed unless I say, pardon my French, not in the elementary, not in a high school situation, but so I'm always like trying in a weird way, not, even though I do curse, but I'm always kind of like trying not to, because I don't want to be like that girl that all she does is like Popeye the Sailor Man. But
well, I don't mind that I curse because I do curse, but what I have found that I try to curse a little bit less, and because you know how I talk in real life sometimes, I have found that might not be appropriate for air all of the times.
This is true.
And there's been a couple of times.
On both counts for us.
There have been a couple of times where you have absolutely checked me after the show, and you're like, you have to take that out. I didn't like that
when
word.
I threatened to kill the then president, I believe that you said.
on show 1. That wasn't even show 6.
Was I wrong? Was I wrong?
That wasn't show 10.
History has proven. Was I wrong?
I was like, let's not come out the gate with.
I'm just saying, history will prove.
And the times where I've used the N-word, you've been like, we're not going to be doing that today.
No, we can't.
And I love that we've always had the respect for each other. Because we both let each other go wherever we need to go. But if there's something that either of us really are like viscerally, and to me, I may not agree, but I'm like, we share this show together, and if that sets her then it'll go because it doesn't mean that
I can call her a cunt, but you can't. But that's but that's women. I know what it means. Okay, and that's girl rule. I can, but we can also call a guy a dick. Interesting. Mm-hmm. We can call him a dick, and we can call her a cunt.
Because men, our feelings are different on that.
Unless you're British. The British call each other cunts all the time, and it's genius, and I love it. I love that they do
Unless you're just me, who, usually standing outside my open window when my UPS man comes, and I'm just yelling, dick. Dick.
Maybe that's why he hasn't responded to you. Have you thought? Maybe he thinks. No, you're supposed to be saying duck, not dick.
Well, listen, honey, I'm calling
it's
for
not
the
a
dick,
dick
honey,
call.
not the ducks. It's
my
dick call,
goodness.
darling. It's
Harlem. My goodness.
Let me just tell you something. It's Harlem. It is warm.
It's
Everybody's
nice
been cooped up and COVID-y. this is going to be a slutty summer. I'm going to tape up these old man titties and get them shaking, honey.
I can't. I, on the other hand, am not even going to literally touch that.
You and Candace are going to go thrifting and do things.
It's not. Excuse me. It's not called thrifting. It's called going to a thrift store. I don't believe in turning things into verbs. It's not journaling. It's not juicing. It's not a good read. It's not a good watch. We have time to say the entire word, okay?
That is true.
It's like I am watching a movie, not, it was a good watch. A good watch is something you wear around your wrist. I had it. This is where I become my father's daughter. It drives me nuts. It's like, we're going to a thrift store.
No.
Yeah, hopefully
you know what
we'll
drives me crazy? I'm a celebrity stylist. Excuse me? I'm a celebrity makeup artist. What? What does that mean? I love how people just like, no, you're a makeup artist, honey. You're a makeup artist. It's not you're a style. And then I could be like, I'm a celebrity music industry person because I'm working with them just like you. Hell, I'm hiring some of y'all. It's like,
but I think there is a difference between doing the makeup counter at Macy's and doing Rihanna's makeup.
The only difference is it's opportunity. Really,
and a paycheck.
But opportunity, because sometimes you could be really good if you get the opportunity. That can change your life, you know what I mean? I just think that we place too
God,
much
you're being so freaking optimistic today. What's the matter with you?
Well,
someone has taken Courtney and replaced him with Folgers Instant. What's happening?
No. I'll tell you, it's clearly the world's ending. Everything's melting down. We got monkeypox. What the fuck is that? I didn't even
stop.
Heard of a
No,
monkeypox.
don't even. Why don't you pay attention? That's just clickbait. It's ridiculous. I don't have to worry about it because from what I read, it is spread by gay men. So
right, that's why you're like, girl, why are you worried about
whatever.
that? To the gay man. She's like, why are you worried about that? As I'm at the window.
No, I wouldn't even worry about that. That's just more clickbait. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. There's more, don't worry about that. Don't worry.
My record store shut down. Shout out to, I would like to say, and I've said this on previous show, you guys know, local business is important. My little local record shop is gone. They were supporters of this show, listened early on, and we love Pat and Emily and Ben and Mally and all of those guys and wish everybody well in their endeavors and moving on. We've had so many people who listened and supported this show from the beginning. Amy would hit me and be like, you know who likes the show? And I'd be like, who? And she'd be like, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And I'd be
who did I say? Somebody good?
So many different people, interesting writers and art. I know. I was really kind of gagged.
Because we're smart.
Well, is it that? There are a lot of people who are smart. I was like, we had, and still today I feel like we have, compared to some massive shows, a smaller audience, but it's a very mighty one, and it's been growing and loyal, and people tune in, they tell their friends. I've had people say, my kid doesn't even listen to podcasts because I was listening to yours in the car so much. Now my kid is chiming in and my kid listens to your podcast and tell their friends about your podcast.
I really need to watch my language if children are listening to this.
No, well, they're in college.
Okay.
They're in college.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I got scared.
We don't talk about anything that those young kids want to talk about. We're like, we don't talk about little Tecarella, Teca Cinderella.
I like little Teca. Sorry.
I can't keep up which one. Listen, I'm sure I like a lot of them, but I don't know whose song is who because everybody to me kind of almost sounds alike,
Yeah, it's all right. Says that, I think every Jack Antonoff production sounds the same.
Listen, we've done. Have you heard his new song with Diana Ross?
No.
He produced.
It's Tame Impala, right?
Yeah, it's the theme to the Minions movie.
The Minions?
Gru? Yes.
Gru?
Yes. And I love the fact that you have a grandchild that you know that because you're going to have to
I knew that beforehand. I used to call the little kids at the school I worked with, I'd call them Minions, and they'd go, we're not Minions. Wow. Okay. Is Diana Ross, has she got a lot of grandkids? Is she broke? I mean, why is she
does have grandkids.
Yeah, I know.
She does have a bunch of grandkids.
So I'm assuming, well, Tame Impala's one guy, right?
Do you
It's one of those groups that, I think it's like one of those groups that's not really a group, it's one guy.
Do you know how I was last years old?
They're
when I
actually good, or
realized that?
he's good.
Really
So,
good. Really, really,
yeah.
really good, you know?
Minions. Okay.
Miss Thing, the motherfucking
Minions.
Minions. So then
I like
you
the
have,
Minions.
let's go back to like, you have Amy and I.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And now, tangent. Hello.
No.
All right, the tangent police have just come out and
No, it's not even
called
a
us in.
tangent. It's like, so then we get to 1 year and we're like, we can't believe we made it a fucking year, bitch. We made it a year.
I know.
And then all of a sudden,
The fake pandemic happened.
then
right?
we took a meeting and we do have to, honestly, and right here, really, both of us, say a really huge thank you and owe a debt of gratitude to Ann Christoph.
Yeah, that's why. Of
Because,
course. Yeah.
and honestly, when I came to her with the idea, she was like, that makes sense. That's the thing. And then linked me with Amy, and it's kind of like there's so many shows out there, right? And there's so many different perspectives. I didn't think anybody would give a shit about what we had to say, but there's something about when the two of us together say things, it just comes out as fun, and I'm really, really grateful that Anne put us together, and that she worked with us and really was a producer for those first shows. And then she had to leave. You know, she's working, and she's now a really great social media manager. She does Jackson Brown, Billy Porter, and Cyndi Lauper. She's got all these great stuff that she's doing. And, you know, if it wasn't for her, you know, this could have been a different show. So, you know, it really does come back to giving her a debt of gratitude. And all of our friends who really supported and passed the word around and listened and actually liked it, you know, and told people and posted shows and tweeted it out and reposted our Instagram posts. All of you guys who engage with us on our Facebook page, you guys are hilarious. We fucking love it. And, you know,
And
it's
then
it's been a good time.
And I also want to give a huge thank you to the guys at Who Cares About the Rock and Roll Hall, because when I met, and I'm using met in the virtual sense, I've never actually physically met them, but they do this wonderful show. Joe and Kristen do this great show, which is like, you know, they say who cares, and yet they care deeply, but they're funny and really so informative. These guys know more about it than people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame do. And they asked me if I would go on the show and talk, and they're really funny. And I swear, Courtney, we're doing it, and it's on Zoom, and I looked and I went, those are really nice mics. Where'd you guys get those mics? And he says, and I said, oh, are you guys part of a network? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, the next thing I know, he has linked me and the guys from Pantheon, Peter, and Christian together. And so thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe, very much.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
And Joe came on our show as well.
Yes,
Joe,
and
you know?
he's lovely. So thank you for that, because as you know and I know, even though we're doing very different types of shows, you know, sometimes people are like, this is my turf and I don't want you stepping into my turf. I have a relationship. I don't want you coming along.
Absolutely.
And then when I saw that our other friends, Rock's Back Pages, were also part of this network, I was like,
Barney.
Hey, Barney. Hey, Mark. I was like, this is where we were both like, yeah, this is our sensibility. This is totally our sensibility. But it was...
And the biggest shout out goes to, we take this Zoom with Peter and Christian. Now, here's the thing about Pantheon. Pantheon is a serious music network, kids. There are scripted shows that go into amazing detail with the people who were there and did it. Historical shows where people break down the history of a song. Just so many really amazing shows. I'm thinking there is no way they're gonna like our crazy ass New York based show that has that sensibility, that is definitely based in music but can talk about all of these different things. And we're very interested in wanting to be someplace where we could talk about all of these different things. And lo and behold, Peter and Christian are like, okay, And Amy and I, we get off we get off the Zoom, and then they, send us an email, and they're saying they're gonna rock with us, and we're like, I think we fooled them or something.
Yeah, we did. They think we're somebody else.
I think they think we're somebody
They
else.
actually do think. They actually do think Kanye hosts this show.
I was like, I don't understand what's happening. Like,
yeah, something's
all those other
wrong.
People sound so smart. Why do they want this fuckery? You know what
really.
I mean?
We have no idea what's going on.
And they have helped us. We have grown in the year with Pantheon, because this 3rd year anniversary is our 1-year anniversary of Pantheon.
Oh, wow.
It is. We have grown. They have upgraded our equipment. They've taught us how to record.
They're lovely.
There's such a...
They make us feel like grown-ups.
Yeah, and they make us feel like we're invested in your show. We like what you do. We want to see you grow. We're helping you grow. And to that, we are eternally grateful. And we love being there. And, and we love that you guys have come on this whole ride with us. And we're so appreciative. Like, listen, where else can you go and hear somebody talk about Pia Zadora unironically? Because I fucking love Pia Zadora. I do.
I do not.
I do not know why I love Pia Zadora.
I can tell you why. It's the same reason why you sound like you have a mouthful of dicks. It's just a genetic defect on your part.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
It's just a genetic. I mean, you can't help it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
But I'm just like, Pia Zadora is where I draw the line. I'm sorry.
Fucking
I draw the line.
Eartha Kitt disco classics. Sylvester.
Yeah, but Eartha Kitt is a real singer.
Yes, but we're talking the disco years.
Oh, everybody
I love
did
men
that. Everybody
and
did.
the Arabian song. No, I go deep. I go into
Yeah.
way past Where Is My Man?
She needed a check. She needed a check. You know what I mean? I can't be mad at that.
Yeah, listen. And just like, you just know that we're a couple of people who love music. We love to talk, still do shit, be around, interact with you guys, and bring up rant. Like, listen, one of the biggest surprises of this show was how much you guys loved our fucking freestyle show. That's when we kind of knew we were on to something. Like, from the beginning, people listened, but we did a show just
on
like, because we both just love freestyle. So it was like, let's do a show on freestyle. That was the beginning of us realizing
everyone in New York. Oh, I love that show. Yeah. And the British show too. When we did the British, because a lot of people,
really
the British music, because
that
was there was a time like, there were certain names. We were like, Lewis Taylor. It was like a secret little society of artists where everybody was kind of. I think the closest thing to that now would probably be people who are into grime and people who are into salt. It's that same kind of like noise that only certain people.
You feel like you're part of this cocoon family
community, which is hard to do now. But that freestyle show was so much.
It was just so much fun. It was so much fun.
And I love that it's not even like, it wasn't even like a guilty pleasure. I just love that shit.
Let me just tell you something. Fucking Expose, the Cover Girls, I
love that.
I love Sapphire. Boy, I've been told, don't break my heart. I mean, those songs still, Niobe, it's like still TKA, Noel. That
if Mark Anthony had done nothing else in his life but freestyle,
Mark Anthony,
he would still be.
And if people don't know that, go back and listen to like Ride on the Rhythm and his work with Masters at Work. Mark Anthony vocals down, and singing background early on those India records and... He
did the guide vocals for TKA. He would do the guide vocals for them. I love him. Oh, all right. Now we're going to start my weird obsession with people. I love him. I love him so, even though he has really questionable taste in wives, but I just love him so much. He's another, I just love him. You know who else I really want to thank? And it's so funny because I don't know, and she will be listening to the show, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I have actually really met this woman. But during the pandemic, during Facebook, we became Facebook, like, checking for each other all the time. And this Jill Derryberry, we have never met. And she loves all our playlists. So, and she probably lives 3 blocks away from me, but she's another Pet Shop boys fanatic like us, and she's a Kylie fanatic like you. And I just want to, because she's like one of those people, everything is always like, and supporting. Sarah Weinstein all the time, listen up. And, you know, we adore Sarah Weinstein, so she's going to hear this. Sarah Weinstein. My friend Katie Taylor, who I'm now going to mention every show because I just love her so much. Al Diaz, for doing our logo, you know, which was just like...
Al Diaz for doing our... You know what? Oh, my God, thank you. Shout out to my buddy CJ, who does not really listen to podcasts, so I know he's not going to hear this one. He really hooked us up with our first, I needed to borrow some shit.
That first cool logo,
I did our first cool logo. And it was, you know, he really, his company, Creative Genius Agency, really did the thing. And you know who we need to thank? We need to also send a shout out to Jarrell Mason.
Yes, Jarrell. Thank you, Jarrell, for being like literally true blue from jump, and we are going to figure out a schedule.
Right.
Our schedules are, it's just not, we love you to bits, it's just scheduling, but thank you so much. He has done grassroots promotion for us. He's been our street team from jump. From jump. And it makes you realize, I mean, because there's this community of people online, obviously, and we don't know. I mean, Jarrell, for instance, does not live in New York, so we don't know. But you start realizing, oh shit, they've been listening to me. Oh shit, they've been reading me. Oh wow, they know Courtney's work without, and you're like, oh, we do have an impact in some way. So thank you, Jarrell. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Angelo. Oh my God, Angelo, my baby.
Guys, here's the real. We want to say this to you guys. I'm gonna let you finish. Is really 3 people. Angelo Scordos of Peace Biscuit Management and Productions and Promotions and Entertainment. From day one, has been the guy to edit our shows, make us sound better, fix our audio, do anything technical for this show. I run the show and I record us and I do it everything on this end, but Angelo is the man who actually puts this show together in all of the pieces once I send it to him. And thank you to Bill Coleman at Peace Biscuit for creating, and I said, we need a theme song. And having one of the guys, I think John J.C. Carter may have done it, or Joe Kim Sims. I think John did it. Our entrance theme to this show, which was created for us, you know, like Peace Biscuit. Really, just a community of people have made this show, man. Like, you guys don't even know, and still continue to make this show, and because they believe. And you guys coming and listening to us has been so amazing. We love you so much. Thank you. There's more to come. You know, we definitely are we're working out how to do a Patreon and start doing some video elements to this show for the future. We have a lot of plans to really, really grow. But we really appreciate the fact that you guys continue to grow with us. You've been enjoying Pantheon, and thank you, Pantheon. Thank you. Just thank you, everybody. I'm so appreciative and overcome with joy to think that 3 years later, you still like our voice, you still laugh along with us, and that you're enjoying the ride, because we're really enjoying bringing it to you.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. No,
and
thank
with
you.
that, we will see you next week.
Stay well, everybody.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's fantasypoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. Fantasypoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.